The scream tore through the night before anyone saw the flames. A small crowd gathered at the edge of the narrow street, phones raised, faces pale. Inside the tiny apartment that now glowed orange, a woman fought the smoke with a soaked towel over her mouth. Her name was Linda, and that fire wasn't just in her kitchen, it was her entire life collapsing, one spark at a time. She coughed, eyes stinging, as she grabbed the small frame of her daughter from the floor. "Ella!" the 17-year-old gasped, clutching her mother's arm. "Mum, the gas!" Linda turned toward the leaking cylinder, flames crawling closer. She grabbed a pot of water and threw it, praying it would be enough. It wasn't. The fire hissed back, angry and alive. "Leave it, Mum, let's go!" Ella shouted. Linda hesitated, eyes darting to a small wooden box by the cupboard, her husband's photo, their last savings, and the only memory of the man who once promised her the world. She lunged for it, snatched it just as a loud crack split the air. Metal burst, glass shattered, and they stumbled into the corridor. Outside, neighbors shouted for water. Someone called the fire service. Linda dropped to her knees, clutching the box to her chest. The box was safe. The rest was gone. By the time the fire went out, their little home smelled of burnt rice and loss. The landlord yelled about damages. Linda didn't answer. She just stared into the dark, the flicker of red lights painting her face. "Are we homeless now?" Ella whispered. Linda swallowed hard. "No, my child. Home is wherever we still have each other." But even as she said it, the words trembled. 3 weeks later, Linda was back at work, cleaning offices she could never afford to rent. She moved slower these days, her back aching, her spirit heavier. Each stroke of the mop felt like an apology life would never hear. Her new boss, a sharp-tongued woman in heels, called out, "Linda, you missed a spot." "Sorry, Ma," she murmured. "Sorry doesn't clean floors." Linda kept her head down. She had learned to survive insults the way others learned songs, by repetition. At exactly 7 p.m., she clocked out, her uniform damp with sweat, and walked the long road to the café where her daughter worked evenings after school. The smell of roasted beans and buttered bread hit her before she even saw Ella, wiping tables with her usual smile. "Hi, Mum," Ella said, spotting her through the glass. "You look tired." "I'm always tired," Linda said softly, sitting at the corner table. "But seeing you helps." They shared a quiet moment before Ella's manager shouted, "Table 5, Ella!" "Coming!" She rushed off, and that's when Linda noticed him. A man sat alone near the window, reading an old newspaper. Simple white shirt, rolled sleeves, and a quiet air about him. He wasn't handsome in the flashy sense, but there was something gentle in the way he lifted his cup, something heavy behind those calm eyes. He looked familiar. Ella walked over with his order, smiling politely. "Coffee, sir?" "Thank you," he said, his voice deep but soft. "You always remember exactly how I take it." Ella laughed nervously. "You come here almost every day. Hard not to." "I suppose so." He smiled faintly, then added, "You remind me of someone. Someone good, I hope." "The best kind." Linda watched the exchange. Something about the man's tone, the way his eyes lingered, not with desire, but recognition, made her uneasy. When Ella finished her shift, they walked home together, their footsteps slow under the streetlights. "Who was that man?" Linda asked. "Oh, him? That's Daniel. He comes every evening, sits by the window, he's quiet, tips well. I think he's a writer or something." "A writer," Linda murmured. "These quiet ones are always the mysterious kind." Ella giggled. "He's harmless, Mum." Linda said nothing. Years of hardship had sharpened her instincts. And something about Daniel didn't sit right, not danger, but mystery. The next evening, the cafe buzzed with light chatter and clinking spoons. Daniel returned, as usual, sitting by the window. But this time he wasn't alone. 2 men in suits walked in behind him, whispering, then left after handing him a folder. Ella noticed. "Work stuff?" she asked. "Maybe," he replied, closing the folder quickly. "You work very hard here." "I have to," she said. "My mum does everything already." "Single mother?" Ella nodded. "Yeah, lost my dad years ago." Daniel looked down, his face tightening briefly. "I'm sorry." "It's okay. She says we're stronger because of it." When Linda came to pick Ella up again that night, Daniel was still there. This time he stood as they passed his table. "Good evening, Mum," he greeted. Linda paused, startled. "Good evening." "You raised a kind daughter," he said simply. Linda nodded. "I try." "She told me you make jollof rice that could make a man forget his name," Ella gasped. "Mum, I didn't say that," Daniel smiled. "You did, and I'm holding you to it. Maybe I'll come try it someday." Linda's eyes narrowed slightly. "Our food is humble, sir." "The best meals usually are." They exchanged polite smiles. As they walked away, Ella whispered, "He's actually nice, Mum." Linda didn't respond. Her mind was elsewhere, on his calm confidence, his strange gentleness. That night she dreamed of another evening years ago. A night when rain had soaked through the ceiling, and she'd opened her door to find a shivering young man outside, clothes torn, eyes desperate. He'd begged for food. She'd given him rice and a blanket. She couldn't remember his face clearly now. But something about Daniel made her chest tighten. The next morning, Linda sat by the window staring at the rising sun, her thoughts restless. Her daughter hummed as she dressed for work, excitement in her step. "Mum," Ella said suddenly, "I was thinking, why don't we invite Daniel to dinner this weekend? You know, just as friends. He's new in town. He looks lonely." Linda froze. "Invite a strange man into our home." "He's not strange. He's kind. You'll see." "Kindness can wear masks, Ella. Not everyone is who they seem." "Neither are we, Mum. We smile through hunger every day. Doesn't mean we're fake." Linda stared at her daughter, the courage in her young eyes stirring something inside her. "Fine," she said at last, sighing. "Invite your mysterious friend, but if he tries anything—" "Mum!" Ella laughed. "He won't." Linda looked away, whispering, "We'll see." Saturday came too fast. Ella was all nerves and excitement, moving around their small apartment like a butterfly with too many wings. "Mum, do we have enough rice?" she asked, rummaging through the cupboard. "Check the pot first," Linda said, peeling onions. "Don't cook like you're feeding the entire Lagos." "But it's his first time here." "He's a man, not the president," Linda muttered. "If he's coming for food, he'll eat what he sees," Ella giggled. "Mum, please don't scare him." "If he's easily scared, he shouldn't come." Linda didn't admit it, but she'd been uneasy since the invitation. She didn't know if it was fear or something else. That strange feeling she got whenever she remembered his eyes. At exactly 6:30, there was a knock. Ella jumped. "He's here!" She opened the door, smiling too brightly. Daniel stood there, carrying a bottle of juice and a small pack of pastries. "Good evening," he said, voice calm as always. "Evening," Linda answered, wiping her hands. "You found the place." "With Ella's directions, how could I miss it?" "Come in." He stepped inside, glancing around. The apartment was small, walls freshly painted after the fire, but it smelled of something warm, garlic, fried plantain, and a touch of hope. "You have a beautiful home," he said. "We make do," Linda replied. "Please, sit." He sat carefully, as though the chair might break beneath his quiet weight. "I didn't mean to cause trouble by coming," he added. "No trouble," Linda said, though her eyes were still cautious. "Ella talks about you often." "Does she?" "Mum!" Ella hissed. Daniel chuckled. "Good things, I hope." "She says you're always reading," Linda said. "Books are safer than people," he replied softly. That line made Linda glance up. That kind of sadness didn't come from fiction. They ate together, the sound of spoons and laughter slowly filling the room. Daniel ate slowly, as if memorizing every bite. "This is incredible," he said. "You weren't joking, Ella." Linda smiled despite herself. "Cooking is what's left of me that still works." "It's more than that," Daniel said quietly. "It's warmth. People forget what that tastes like." Linda looked at him a long moment before saying, "You talk like a man who's lost something." "Maybe I am," he said. "Maybe I lost it a long time ago." The conversation lingered after that. Ella kept it light, talking about school, her dreams to study abroad, her wish to buy her mum a house someday. Daniel listened, truly listened, his eyes soft but heavy. At one point Ella asked, "So what do you do, really? You're always with those files and laptops." He smiled faintly. "Let's just say I build things." "Like a contractor?" "Sort of," he said. "I build futures." Linda caught the way his tone shifted. Not pride, not mystery, but distance. When dinner ended, Daniel offered to wash the dishes. Linda refused, but he insisted. "Please," he said, "it's the least I can do." As he rinsed the plates, he glanced toward a small photo on the shelf, a younger Linda with her husband, and a little girl smiling toothlessly. His expression softened. "You've been through a lot, haven't you?" "Everyone has," she replied. "Some hide it better than others." He nodded, silent. After he left that night, Linda locked the door and leaned against it, heart unsettled. "He's nice," Ella said. "He's too calm," Linda murmured. "No one is that calm unless they're hiding something." "Mum, you always think everyone has a secret. Because everyone does. Even you." "Especially me," Linda whispered. She didn't notice Ella watching her with a curious smile. The next day, Daniel returned to the cafe as usual, but this time, when Ella brought his order, he said, "Tell your mum thank you again." It's been a long time since I felt like I belonged somewhere. You can come any time, Ella said. She pretends to be strict, but she liked you. I could tell. You should have seen how she cleaned the house before you came. I'll pretend I didn't hear that. They laughed, and for the first time, Daniel's laughter reached his eyes. But later that night, alone in his quiet apartment overlooking the city, he sat staring at his phone, at a photo of Linda and Ella he'd secretly taken at dinner. His thumb hovered over it like a prayer. You still don't remember me, he said under his breath, but I never forgot you. He scrolled through old pictures, a much younger him, thin and hopeless, standing in front of a burnt-down shelter years ago. One image caught him, a woman handing him food under a leaking roof. The same eyes, the same hands. Linda, he exhaled shakily. God works in strange circles. The next morning he called his assistant. Yes, sir? I need a house, Daniel said. A small one, 2 bedrooms, quiet street. Make it comfortable. For you? No, Daniel said. For someone who once saved me. Understood. He hung up and stared out the window, remembering the night he'd begged a stranger for help, and she'd given him food without questions. He never knew her name then. Now he did. He had money, power, and everything he thought would heal him. But none of it mattered like that moment. A bowl of rice, a kind word, and a door that didn't shut in his face. Meanwhile, at home, Linda couldn't focus. She found herself cleaning, rearranging, pretending not to think about the man with eyes full of ghosts, Ella noticed. Mum, you're scrubbing the same spot again. Mind your business, Linda said. You like him. I don't like him. Then why are you blushing? Because your mouth runs faster than your brain. Mum, go get ready for work. But when Ella left, Linda caught her reflection in the window. She was blushing. That evening, as Linda folded laundry, her phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. Hello? Good evening, Mum, Daniel's voice. Sorry for disturbing you. I just wanted to thank you again for last night. It's fine, she said. You didn't need to call. I wanted to. Pause. You sound tired. Do you ever rest? Mothers don't rest, Mr. Daniel. Then at least let someone help you. Help? Let me send something. Groceries, maybe? Don't, she said sharply. We don't take gifts from people we barely know. Fair, he said softly. Then let me earn the right to be known. Her silence lingered long enough to make him smile faintly on the other end. Good night, Linda. Good night. She ended the call, but her hand trembled. Something told her this man was about to change everything, and deep down she wasn't sure if she was ready. The following week passed in quiet tension. Daniel kept visiting the café, always sitting by the same window, always greeting Ella with a calm smile. Sometimes he'd ask about school, sometimes about Linda, but never too much to raise suspicion. Ella liked him more each day. She told her mum, He's different, Mum. He listens when people talk. Linda replied, Listening doesn't mean understanding. Remember that. Still, every evening when Ella returned home, Linda found herself asking, Did he come today? You see, Ella teased, you like him too. Linda denied it, but inside she wondered why she cared at all. On Thursday morning, as Linda walked to work, a sleek black car slowed beside her. The window rolled down and Daniel leaned out, smiling. Need a ride? Linda froze. What are you doing here? I was on my way to a meeting, he said. Saw you walking. It's a long road. I'm used to it. Still, let me drop you off. People will talk. Let them, he said. You've earned the right to stop caring what they say. Against her better judgment, she entered the car. The air smelled faintly of cedar and new leather, a smell she associated with a life far above hers. You're quiet, he said. I don't know what to say, she replied. You don't owe me conversation, just company. I didn't ask for company. No, he said gently. But maybe you need it. She turned to look at him, those eyes again, deep like they'd seen too much. Who are you, Daniel? Someone trying to make up for lost time. When they arrived, she thanked him and stepped out quickly, pretending not to notice the way her heart was racing. Daniel watched her until she disappeared inside the building, then sighed. She still doesn't remember. That afternoon, a delivery truck stopped at the café. The workers carried in boxes labeled "Fresh Supplies Paid." Ella blinked. Paid? By who? Anonymous, the driver said. Said to tell you someone appreciates your kindness. The manager thought it was a mistake, but everything was in Ella's name. Bags of rice, sugar, oil, things they hadn't been able to afford for months. When she got home, Ella showed her mum the receipt. Mum, look, someone bought all this for us, Linda frowned. From who? They said anonymous, maybe a miracle. Linda wasn't laughing. Nothing's ever free. She glanced out the window, uneasy. Mum, Ella said softly, what if it's just kindness? Kindness has a face, Linda muttered, and I think I know whose. The next evening, she waited outside the cafe. When Daniel arrived, she stepped into his path. Good evening, Mum, he said calmly. Don't ma'am me. Did you send those supplies? Yes, he said without hesitation. Why? Because you need them. We didn't ask for charity. It's not charity, he said softly. It's gratitude, she blinked. Gratitude? For what? For dinner, for trust, for letting me feel human again. You think food and trust are things you can buy? He looked hurt. No, I'm saying thank you in the only way I know how. Linda's anger faltered. You're strange, Daniel. So I've been told. She turned to walk away, but he said quietly, You helped me once, Linda, long ago. She froze. What did you say? Nothing, forget it. But his eyes told her he meant it. She went home disturbed, her mind clawing through old memories. A night, a stranger, hunger. She shook her head. Impossible. That man was gone years ago. Saturday night, Daniel found himself at a charity gala downtown. Lights, laughter, expensive perfume, everything he hated. His assistant leaned close. Sir, the investors want a photo. Tell them I'm tired. Sir, people are asking why you've been so distant lately. Tell them I found something more important than money. The assistant blinked. Sir, never mind. As he turned to leave, flashes went off, cameras capturing the billionaire who rarely appeared in public. His mind wasn't there. It was with the woman who once gave him warmth in a world that had none. Across town, Linda sat on her bed, staring at her daughter's laughter as Ella watched old comedy clips on her phone. She smiled faintly, but her eyes were tired. You know, Mum, Ella said. Daniel said something today. He said kindness doesn't disappear, it just waits to be seen again. Linda's hand froze mid-air. He said that? Yes, you should have seen how serious he looked, like it meant something. Maybe it did, Linda murmured. That night, Linda couldn't sleep. Her dreams twisted with smoke and fire, but not from the recent blaze, from years back, when a desperate boy had stood at her door, eyes sunken, voice trembling. Please, madam, just a plate. I haven't eaten in 2 days. She had given him food and watched him devour it with tears in his eyes. When he tried to thank her, she'd said, You don't owe me anything, just don't forget what hunger feels like. She woke up trembling. It couldn't be. The next morning, Daniel showed up at their door again, this time with flowers. Good morning, he said. Linda opened the door halfway. You don't stop, do you? Not when I believe something matters. What do you want from us? Nothing, just breakfast company. You're impossible. And you're kind. She hesitated, then sighed. Fine, come in, but no more gifts. Agreed. As he sat at the small table, Ella brought tea and bread. So, Mr. Builder of Futures, she teased, what's your story? Long and messy, he said. The kind worth listening to. Maybe someday. Linda studied him as he spoke. The careful pauses, the sadness he carried like luggage he couldn't put down. He wasn't faking it. He was carrying something real. You really don't remember me, do you? He asked suddenly. Linda blinked. Should I? No, he said quickly, smiling faintly. It's better this way. You're confusing, she muttered. I get that a lot. As he left, Ella called after him. See you tomorrow. You will, he said. Sooner than you think. When the door closed, Linda whispered, He's hiding something. Mum, not everything hidden is dangerous. No, she said softly, but secrets always come with a cost. Outside, Daniel stopped by his car and looked back at their small window glowing faintly behind the curtains. He touched his chest where his heart used to ache and smiled. Not this time, he murmured. This time, kindness wins. Daniel didn't visit the cafe for 2 days, and Ella noticed immediately. He's never missed a day, she told her mum, worry in her voice. Maybe he got busy, Linda said without looking up from her sewing machine. Maybe, Ella murmured, but her tone carried doubt. On the 3rd day, Daniel appeared, but not at the cafe. He came to their home, dressed in something casual but neat. His smile looked thinner than usual. Good afternoon, he said softly. Hope I'm not disturbing. You again, Linda said, trying not to show her surprise. You didn't come by the cafe, Ella added quickly. I was out of town for a meeting, he said. I brought something back. He held out a small brown box. Linda frowned. Daniel, I said no gifts. It's not expensive, he said gently. Please open it. Inside was a wristwatch. Simple, elegant, nothing flashy. My father gave me this when I had nothing, Daniel said. I want you to have it. For luck. Linda stared at the watch, then at him. You're giving away memories now. I'm sharing blessings. We're not charity cases. I never said you were. The tension hung between them. Ella tried to lighten the mood. Mum, it's just a gift. He's hiding something, Linda said, glaring. He's too generous for someone who claims to be ordinary. Maybe some people are just good, Mum, Ella whispered. Daniel quietly slipped his hands into his pockets. I won't force kindness, he said softly, but I won't stop caring either. He turned to leave. Mr. Daniel, Ella called after him, don't mind her, she's just cautious. She should be, Daniel said without turning. The world punishes the kind. That night Linda couldn't stop replaying his words. The world punishes the kind. It felt like something she had once said herself. Meanwhile, Daniel sat in his office downtown, watching the city lights blink below. His assistant entered, nervous. Sir, there's a rumor going around. What rumor? About you. Pictures leaked from the gala. People are saying you're secretly in town for a personal project. Journalists are asking questions, Daniel sighed. Let them talk. Should we increase security? No, just keep them away from one address. Which one, sir? You know which, the assistant nodded. Understood. The next morning, Linda noticed men in suits hanging around the street corner pretending to read newspapers. Her instincts screamed. She called Ella immediately. Stay inside after school. Don't talk to strangers. What's going on? Just do as I say. That evening, Daniel came by again, looking troubled. Linda, I need to tell you something. If this is about gifts again, it's not, he interrupted gently. It's about who I am. She folded her arms. I knew it. You're not just some man drinking coffee every day. No, I'm not. Then who are you? Someone trying to repay a debt I can never forget. You keep saying that, she snapped. What debt? Years ago I was no one, he said quietly. Homeless, starving. You opened your door to me. You gave me food and told me to never forget what hunger feels like. I never did. Linda's breath caught. What did you say? You don't remember, do you? It was raining. You gave me rice. You saved me. She blinked rapidly, voice trembling. That boy? You? He nodded. I became who I am because of that night. She stepped back, eyes wide. Who you are? What are you talking about? Before he could answer, Ella burst into the room holding her phone. Mum, look at this. On the screen was a news headline. Tech billionaire Daniel Smith spotted living modestly in Los Angeles. Sources say he's building something personal. Linda's eyes darted between the photo and the man standing before her. You're a billionaire? He winced. I didn't want you to find out like this. You lied. I hid it, he corrected softly. There's a difference. Not to me. She pushed past him, fury and confusion colliding. You came into my home pretending to be one of us. I never pretended, he said. I just wanted to feel human again, to find the woman who showed me kindness before anyone knew my name. You should have stayed gone. Linda, leave. He didn't move. Please. Her voice broke. Leave, Daniel. He stepped back slowly, pain in his eyes, then nodded. If that's what you want. He walked out without another word. The silence that followed felt heavier than fire. Ella turned to her mother. Mum, why did you do that? Because people like him don't show up without a reason. He's not bad, Mum. You said yourself kindness always costs something. Maybe this is his cost. Don't be naive, Linda whispered, but her voice shook. The next morning the street outside was chaos. Black cars, cameras, reporters shouting. Mum, is it true you know Daniel Smith? How long have you been seeing him? Is he funding your family? Linda froze at her doorway. What is this? One reporter shoved a mic toward her face. Is it true he's buying you a house? I don't know what you're talking about, she cried, slamming the door. Her heart pounded as she locked it. Mum, Ella whispered, they know where we live. Because of him. He didn't mean for this to happen. Intentions don't stop consequences, Linda said bitterly. Get your things. We're leaving for Auntie Grace's. They packed fast. Linda's hands shook as she folded clothes. She didn't know if she was angry at Daniel or at herself for caring. When she opened the door again, Daniel stood there, alone, no bodyguards. Linda, he said quietly, I can fix this. You've done enough. They'll keep coming until they hear the truth. Then tell them the truth yourself. Leave us out of it. I can't. If they know who you are to me, they'll never leave you alone. Who I am to you, she asked. What are you saying? You're my reminder, he said softly. My peace, the reason I'm still human. Linda stared at him, her throat tight. You need to go, Daniel. Please, he said. Let me protect you. Protect me? You've already destroyed the little piece I had left. Her words hit him harder than she meant them to. He stepped back, nodding slowly. I understand. Do you? Enough to know when to walk away. He turned and left, the door closing quietly behind him. Ella rushed to her mother, eyes wet. "Mum, maybe he really loved us." "Love?" Linda whispered. "Love doesn't come wrapped in secrets." But when she finally sat down, the tears she'd been holding back fell fast and silent. She didn't know if they were for the man she'd driven away or for the piece of her heart he'd somehow taken with him. Days turned into weeks. The cameras stopped coming, but the whispers stayed. Neighbors stared longer than usual. Some smiled too much, others avoided Linda altogether. At the supermarket, two women muttered loud enough for her to hear. "That's the one the billionaire was hiding. They say he built her a mansion. Look at her pretending to be humble." Linda clenched her jaw, paid for her groceries, and walked away without a word. At home, Ella scrolled endlessly through her phone. "Mum, people are saying horrible things online. Then stop reading them." "But they're calling you a gold digger." Linda's hand trembled as she chopped onions. "They called Jesus worse." "You're crying." "Because of onions," she lied. Nights were quieter now. The clock ticked too loud, and every sound outside made her wonder if it was him. Daniel hadn't called since that last night. He'd vanished like smoke. Ella missed him openly. Linda missed him in silence. One evening, while washing dishes, she heard a knock. Her heart jumped. She wiped her hands, opened the door, and froze. It wasn't Daniel. It was a woman in a navy blue suit. "Mrs. Linda?" "Yes, I'm Shirley from Smith Holdings. Mr. Daniel asked me to deliver this." She handed Linda a sealed envelope and a business card, then left before Linda could ask anything. Inside the envelope was a single sheet. "Linda, forgive me, I never meant to bring chaos to your door. I left the city to end what I started. When the noise dies down, I'll come back, if you still want me to." D. Linda sat on the bed, staring at the paper until the ink blurred. "He's gone," she whispered. "Maybe he'll come back," Ella said softly. "Maybe." 2 weeks later, a news headline shattered that hope. "Billionaire Daniel Smith missing after private jet incident." Linda dropped her phone. No, this can't be." Ella grabbed it. "They're saying the plane went down over the Atlantic. Search still ongoing." Linda sank to the floor, the world spinning. "He can't die like this," she whispered. "Not after everything." That night she didn't sleep. She replayed every moment, the dinner, the laughter, his soft eyes when he said, "You still don't remember me." For the first time, she prayed for someone she barely knew. 3 days later, someone knocked again. This time it was heavy, deliberate. Linda opened the door expecting police or reporters, but found a thin man in dark glasses. "You're Mrs. Linda?" "Who's asking?" "Name's Peter. I used to work security for Mr. Smith. He told me if anything ever happened to him, I should give you this." He handed her a small flash drive. "What's on it?" "He said you'd know when to watch it." "Wait, where did you find it?" "In a locker at the airstrip. I can't stay. They're watching everyone." He disappeared into the night. Linda locked the door, plugged the flash drive into Ella's old laptop, and clicked the single video file. Daniel's face filled the screen, alive, tired, filmed in a dim hotel room. "If you're seeing this," he began, "then something went wrong. There are people inside my company trying to destroy everything I built. They'll make it look like an accident. I couldn't trust anyone except you." Linda covered her mouth. "Mum, he's alive," Ella whispered. Daniel continued, "Years ago your kindness saved me. Now it might save me again. There's a file in a locker at Bank of America under your name. Inside are documents proving who's behind the sabotage. Keep it safe. And Linda, if I don't make it, tell Ella I believed in her." The screen went black. Linda sat frozen, tears streaming silently. "We have to go to the bank," Ella said. "They'll kill us if they find out," Linda whispered. "Mum, we can't just sit here." The next morning, disguised in caps and plain clothes, they made their way downtown. The banker frowned at the name on the envelope. "This was left under strict instruction. Sign here." Inside were papers, a USB drive, and a note. "Trust no one in Smith Holdings except Shirley." "The woman who came here before?" Ella said. "We need her." As they stepped outside, a black SUV pulled up fast. Two men stepped out, pretending to check their phones, but clearly watching them. "Mum," Ella whispered, "they're following us." "Run," Linda said. They darted into a side street, heading straight to a bus station. They slipped into a bus heading the opposite direction. Hearts pounding, they sat silently until the bus merged into traffic. "What's happening?" Ella asked. "I don't know," Linda said, gripping the envelope. "But we're in the middle of something bigger than us." That night, Linda met Shirley secretly at an old restaurant. Ada looked shaken. "He trusted you," she said. "They think he's dead, but he's not." He's hiding until the board coup fails. Then why send me this? Because if they find him, they'll use you to break him. You and your daughter need to disappear for a while. Disappear? I can help. He prepared a safe house months ago. He must have known something like this would happen. Why us? Linda asked. Because he loved you, Shirley said simply. The words hit harder than she expected. For the first time, Linda didn't deny it. Where do we go? I'll take you. They traveled overnight, reaching a quiet coastal town by dawn. The safe house was modest but secure. Cameras, strong doors, enough food for months. Ella looked around. He planned all this. He plans everything, Ada said. He's alive, Linda, and he'll come for you. A week passed in hiding. One evening, Linda sat on the porch, staring at the sea, when a faint knock echoed from the back door. She grabbed the poker from the fireplace and stepped cautiously outside. A shadow moved behind the shed. "Who's there?" she demanded. "It's me." The voice was weak but unmistakable. She turned, and her breath caught. Daniel stood there, bruised, exhausted, but alive. "You're supposed to be dead," she whispered. "So are the lies they told," he said. "They tried to kill me, but I escaped." He staggered forward, and she caught him before he fell. "You're bleeding." "It's nothing. I had to see you first. You should have gone to the police." "Can't. They're bought." "Then what do we do?" He looked at her, eyes fierce despite the pain. "We fight back." Linda stared at him, realization dawning that the quiet man from the café was now dragging her into a war she never asked for, but maybe, just maybe, one she was meant to finish. Daniel slept for nearly 20 hours. When he finally stirred, Linda was sitting beside him with folded arms, pretending she wasn't worried. "You heal fast for a dead man," she said dryly. He smiled weakly. "You always had a way of making insults sound like comfort." "Don't push your luck," she replied. "You're lucky I didn't throw you out." "You could have." "I should have." "But you didn't," he said softly. Their eyes met for a heartbeat longer than necessary before she looked away. "Eat something," she said. "I made soup. You cooked for me again. Seems like we've come full circle." "Don't start with your poetic lines," she muttered. But he saw the ghost of a smile on her lips. As he ate slowly, he began to explain everything. How board members of his company had been siphoning funds, setting up shell accounts, and planning to frame him for embezzlement. "When I found out," he said, "they tried to make me disappear. My own pilot was paid to crash the plane. I jumped before impact, landed in the sea, and a fisherman found me. Shirley helped me vanish. And you came straight here? To the only place that's ever felt like home," Linda frowned. "Home? Daniel, this isn't a movie. You're putting us in danger." "I know," he said quietly, "but I didn't know where else to go." "You had the world, and you came to a woman who irons other people's clothes for a living." "Because you never wanted anything from me," he said. "Everyone else saw money. You saw a man." She tried not to look moved. "You need a hospital, not emotions. I need you to trust me." She sighed deeply, pressing her temples. "What's your plan?" "Expose them," he said. "The files in that envelope, those are evidence, but I need help to release them safely." "Help? From who?" "From someone who doesn't scare easily." Linda chuckled without humor. "Then you picked the wrong woman." "No," he said. "I picked the right one." They stared at each other for a long time before she said, "Fine, but if we end up dead, I'll haunt you." "Fair deal." The next night, Shirley arrived with a small laptop and satellite router. "Once we upload the documents, the world will know the truth," she said. "But it has to go through multiple secure channels. If they trace it, we're finished." "Then let's move fast," Daniel said. Linda hovered nearby, watching them type furiously. Ella entered quietly, carrying coffee. "You're really doing this?" she asked. "We're doing it for the truth," Daniel said. "And for your mother." "For me?" Linda asked, surprised. "You showed me what real strength looks like," he said simply. "The world deserves to see that kind of honesty again." They finished the upload around midnight. Shirley pressed enter, and a progress bar began to crawl across the screen. Uploading 12%, 38%, 72%. "Almost there," Daniel said. Then the lights flickered. The router beeped. Shirley swore. "They've found the signal. Can they trace it here?" "Maybe." Daniel grabbed his phone. "We need to move." But before they could, headlights flooded through the windows, a car screeched outside, doors slamming, men shouting. "Down!" Shirley hissed. Bullets cracked against the metal gate. Linda screamed and pulled Ella to the floor. Daniel dove for the laptop, yanking out the drive. "They can't get this!" "Through the back!" Shirley yelled. They scrambled out the kitchen door and into the forest path behind the house. Shouts echoed behind them. "This way!" Daniel led them toward the rocky shore. The moon reflected off the waves like shattered glass. They won't stop, Linda gasped. They will, Daniel said, once the truth is out. It's not uploaded yet, Shirley shouted. Then we finish it from the beach, he said, holding up the drive. They reached a small boat tied to a wooden post. Shirley jumped in, connecting her portable hotspot. Signal's weak here, she muttered. Keep it steady. The sound of engines grew closer. Black SUVs appeared at the top of the hill. Daniel, Linda cried. Go, he shouted. She started the engine. The boat jerked forward, cutting across the dark water. Gunfire echoed. Bullets splashed dangerously close. Ella screamed. They're shooting at us. Keep low, Daniel shouted. The boat bounced violently. Shirley's laptop screen glowed faintly. Uploading 93%, 98%. Then the power cut out. No! Shirley cried. Daniel yanked open the casing, rerouted the connection, and slammed the enter key. The screen blinked once, then displayed upload complete. It's done, he breathed. A second later, the laptop sparked and died. We're out of power, Ada said. And fuel, Linda added. The boat drifted into the fog. The SUVs reached the shore but couldn't see them. We're safe, Daniel said, breathing hard. For now. You call this safe, Linda snapped. We almost died. Would you rather live afraid or die for something true? Don't give me that rich man philosophy, she shot back. You brought war to my doorstep. And you faced it without blinking, he said quietly. That's why I came to you. She stared at him, trembling. You think I wanted this? No, he said. But I think you were meant for it. The air went silent, except for the waves. Then Ella spoke softly. Mum, he's right. You didn't just survive life, you fought it. Linda looked at her daughter's tear-streaked face, and then at Daniel's wounded expression. Something inside her shifted, a mix of exhaustion and understanding. You too, she muttered. You'll be the death of me. Daniel smiled faintly. Then at least I'll die with the right people. Shirley's phone buzzed. It's out, she said, eyes wide. The data's viral. Every major outlet has it. The board's finished. Daniel leaned back, relief washing over his face. It's over. Not yet, Linda said. They'll come for you again. Maybe, he said, but not tonight. He reached for her hand slowly, cautiously. Thank you. For what? For not turning away. She looked at their hands, then at him. I still haven't decided if I regret it. Then I still have time to change your mind. Don't push it, he smiled. I missed your sarcasm. I didn't miss your chaos, she said. But the truth was, she had missed him, every quiet word, every patient glance. The horizon lightened as dawn crept in, painting the sky with tired gold. They drifted toward land again, exhausted but alive. For the first time in years, Linda didn't feel like a survivor. She felt like a fighter. Mum, Ella whispered, resting her head on her shoulder. What happens now? Linda looked at Daniel, who gazed back at her with the kind of calm that no longer hid behind mystery. Now, she said, we start over. 3 weeks passed before the city began to calm. News headlines praised Daniel Smith as the whistleblower who exposed the biggest corporate scandal of the decade. Arrests were made, bank accounts frozen, and the board stripped of power. His name was cleared, his empire restored, but Daniel stayed hidden. He didn't want cameras or speeches, he wanted quiet, he wanted Linda. The small coastal house became their temporary home. Shirley came by occasionally with updates, and Ella started taking online classes through Daniel's funding. On the surface, everything looked peaceful, but peace never lasted long in Linda's world. One afternoon, Shirley appeared unexpectedly. Her usual calm was gone. We have a problem, she said quickly. The board wasn't the only threat. Someone close to Daniel leaked your location. What? Linda froze. How? There's a mole. Maybe in the security team, maybe closer. Closer? I don't know yet. Daniel entered from the back door, his tone firm. Shirley, start talking. I traced the signal. It came from inside this property. He frowned. That's impossible. Only you, me, and... He stopped, eyes flicking toward Ella's room. Linda followed his gaze, her stomach sinking. No, she whispered. Not my daughter. Let's check first, Daniel said, walking toward the door. They found Ella sitting on the bed, her phone in hand, tears in her eyes. Mum, please don't be mad. What did you do? Linda demanded. I didn't mean to. Honestly, I just posted a picture. A picture? Daniel's voice tightened. Of what? Us, she said. It was just you fixing the boat and Mum smiling. I didn't say where we were, but people started guessing. Daniel rubbed his temples. Ella, that post reached millions. The wrong people watch everything I do. I just wanted to show people you're not who they think you are. Now they'll think you're leverage, he snapped. Ella's face crumpled. I'm sorry, Linda stepped between them. She made a mistake. Don't talk to her like that. That mistake could get us killed. And you're the reason we're hiding at all, she fired back. Silence cut the air. Daniel looked away. You're right. He walked outside, the sea wind rough against his face. Guilt burned behind his ribs. Linda turned to her daughter. Delete everything, now. I already did, Ella whispered, but people saved it. It's everywhere. That night they kept the lights off. Daniel sat by the window, watching the road through a pair of binoculars. We might have to move again, he said. We can't keep running, Linda replied. I'm tired. So am I. Then stop living like a fugitive. It's not that easy. It never is, she said. But you can't live your whole life in hiding. He turned toward her. You sound like someone who wants me gone. I sound like someone who's losing herself in someone else's chaos. His expression softened. I never wanted to drag you into this. Then what did you want? You, he said simply. From the first time I saw you again. She froze. Don't. I mean it. You think I came for redemption, but I came because you were the only thing in my life that ever felt real. And what happens when reality changes again? Then I'll fight to keep it. She looked at him, torn between anger and something dangerously close to love. You're impossible. You told me that the first night we met, he said with a faint smile, and you still showed up. The tension broke when Shirley's phone buzzed. They're on the move, she said sharply. Who? The men who shot at us. They've been tracking cell signals. They're coming here. How long do we have? Daniel asked. An hour, maybe less. Then we go, he said, standing. We can't keep running, Linda protested again. We need to end this. How? You have proof. Use it. They don't care about proof, they care about silence. Then give them something louder than silence, she said. He paused, realizing she was right. Shirley, can you get us access to a live broadcast? Maybe. There's a news station an hour away. If we get there, then everyone will see me alive, Daniel said. They won't be able to touch us. They packed quickly. As they loaded the car, Ella touched her mum's arm. I'm sorry, she said again. You were trying to help, Linda replied. Just never forget that good intentions can still burn. Are you scared? Terrified, Linda said. But I'm going. Anyway. They drove through the night, headlights slicing through the misty road. Shirley drove, Daniel beside her with the briefcase of evidence, and Linda holding Ella in the back seat. The tension was thick enough to choke on. Halfway there, Daniel noticed headlights behind them, too steady, too close. They're following, he said. Now hold tight. Shirley pressed harder on the accelerator. The car swerved onto a dirt path. We're not gonna make it, Linda shouted. We will, Daniel said. Trust me. That line's getting old. It still works. The car burst through a narrow pass, dust clouding the rear window. The pursuing vehicles slowed as the path grew rougher. Shirley glanced in the mirror. Lost them for now. Good, Daniel said. Head straight to the broadcasting center. They reached it near dawn, a small TV station on the edge of town. Daniel and Shirley rushed inside, startling the sleepy receptionist. We need to go live, Daniel said. The man blinked. Sir, who are... I'm the story, Daniel said, holding up his ID. Within minutes, the studio buzzed awake. Cameras rolled, lights flared. Linda stood just off stage, clutching Ella's hand. When Daniel stepped in front of the camera, dressed in a simple shirt, the anchor whispered, We're live in 3, 2... The red light blinked on. Good morning, Daniel said into the lens. You've heard lies about me. Tonight you'll hear the truth. He laid out everything, the corruption, the threats, the attempt on his life, and the people who'd helped him survive. As he spoke, Linda realized this wasn't just about clearing his name. He was trying to protect everyone who'd ever stood beside him. Then came the twist. To those who think power is measured by wealth, he said, you're wrong. Power is the kindness you can't buy, the meal that saves a stranger. One woman taught me that, Linda Okafor. The studio gasped. Linda's eyes widened. What did you do? She whispered. He continued, I owe her my life, and I'll spend what's left of it making sure she never suffers again. The anchor signaled they were off air. Daniel turned and smiled faintly at her. Now the whole world knows. You just painted a target on my back, she said, trembling. Or maybe I just made it impossible for anyone to hurt you again, he replied. She stared at him, torn between fury and something she couldn't name. Daniel, it's done, he said softly. The truth's out. No one can hide anymore. Outside, the first rays of morning touched the horizon. And for the first time, Linda felt the weight of destiny shifting again, as if life itself was daring her to choose between fear and faith. The broadcast went viral within hours. Every news station replayed it, every social feed flooded with Daniel's face and Linda's name. Some called it romantic, others called it reckless, but everyone was watching. By noon, reporters surrounded the TV station. Shirley got them out through a back exit and drove into the countryside. "That was suicide," she said as they sped down the road. "You exposed her to the world." "I protected her," Daniel said calmly. "You can't protect someone by turning her into a symbol." "Symbols don't die," he replied. "People do." "And what about your enemies?" she shot back. "They're not gone. You embarrassed powerful men on live television." "Let them come," Daniel said. "They'll find a different man waiting this time." In the back seat, Linda sat quietly, arms crossed, eyes distant. Ella leaned toward her. "Mum, say something." "What do you want me to say?" "He did it for you." "He did it for himself," Linda muttered. "No," Daniel said softly. "I did it because the world deserves to know your kind of strength exists." "My kind of strength doesn't need headlines." "Then it deserves peace," he said, "which you've made impossible." "Maybe," he admitted, "but I've made you untouchable too." She turned to look out the window, unable to decide whether she hated him or couldn't stop loving him. They reached a rented lodge by dusk, hidden deep in the forest. Ada made a few calls, arranging for security. The plan was to lie low until the media storm cooled. That night, while Daniel spoke quietly with Shirley outside, Linda sat with her daughter by the fire. "Do you believe him?" Ella asked. "About what?" "That he loves you," Linda sighed. "Love and chaos sometimes look the same, but only one survives. Which one is this?" "I don't know yet," she said honestly. Outside, Shirley handed Daniel a tablet. "There's something you should see," she said. On the screen was a live news clip. Breaking: insiders claim Daniel Smith's assistant orchestrated his disappearance to gain control. A photo of Shirley filled the frame. Daniel froze. "What?" "They're framing me," she said, voice shaking. "That's not true." "I know it's not true," he said. "But someone wants us divided." Just then, gunshots cracked through the night, windows shattered. "Down!" Daniel shouted. They hit the floor as bullets ripped through the walls. "How did they find us?" Shirley yelled. Daniel's expression darkened. "We were betrayed." "By who?" "Someone inside." He looked around the room. "Where's Ella?" Linda's heart seized. "She was right here." Another shot rang out from outside, followed by a scream. Linda ran toward the sound, Daniel behind her. In the darkness beyond the porch, she saw two figures struggling near the trees, one of them her daughter, the other a man in black. "Ella!" she shouted. The man turned, yanking the girl's arm. Daniel tackled him to the ground. The struggle was quick, brutal. A gun went off, and the man fell limp. Daniel's hand was bleeding, but he didn't flinch. "You okay?" he gasped. Ella nodded, trembling. "Mum, I'm fine." Linda grabbed her, sobbing. "I thought I lost you." "You didn't," Daniel said, pressing his hand to his wound. "Not this time." Shirley appeared with a flashlight. "We have to go. They'll send more." "No," Daniel said. "We end this tonight." "You're bleeding." "I've bled before." "Daniel." "Shirley, listen. Whoever leaked our location is still talking to them. We find that leak, we stop this." Shirley hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, I'll check the communications log." She disappeared inside. Linda tore a piece of cloth and wrapped Daniel's hand. "You're insane," she whispered. "Maybe, but I'm still alive because of you." "Don't twist this into a love story," she said. "It's already one," he murmured. She glared at him, but her hands trembled. "You should rest." "Not until I know who betrayed us." Inside the lodge, Shirley worked on her laptop, tracing signal pings from the lodge's devices. Her expression changed. "Oh no!" Daniel entered, wiping the blood from his hand. "What is it?" "It's coming from one of the phones inside this house." "Whose?" She turned the screen toward him. His own number flashed there. "It's your phone." "That's impossible." "They cloned your line," Shirley said. "Someone inside your company did it remotely." Daniel's jaw tightened. "That means they can track every move you make." Before he could respond, Linda's phone buzzed. She glanced down and froze. A text from an unknown number. "You shouldn't have helped him. You'll pay for his mistakes." She held up the phone. Daniel read it and clenched his fists. They're coming for you now. Then we leave again, she said. No, Daniel replied. This ends tonight. He picked up his gun and checked the magazine. Daniel, don't you dare. I'm not running anymore, Linda. They've taken enough. And what about me? What about Ella? That's why I'm doing this. If I walk away, they'll keep coming. If I face them, maybe you'll finally be free. You'll die. Then I'll die fighting for something that mattered. She grabbed his arm, tears hot in her eyes. You matter, Daniel. Don't you see that? For the first time he looked shaken. You really think so? Yes, she whispered. But if you die, none of this means anything. Before he could answer, Shirley burst back in. Too late, they're already here. Through the windows, flashlights flickered, men moving toward the lodge in formation. Get her and Ella out, Daniel said. I'll hold them off. No, Linda said fiercely. We stand together. Linda, don't argue, he exhaled sharply. You're the most stubborn woman I've ever met. And you're the most foolish man I've ever cared for. For a moment, everything paused, the danger, the noise, the years between them, until his hand found hers. Then let's finish this, he said. Shirley armed the door's security locks and dimmed the lights. The first wave hit, bullets clattering against reinforced panels. Daniel returned fire through the cracks. Stay low, he shouted. Smoke filled the air. The sound was deafening. Linda shielded Ella, heart hammering. Then, in the chaos, a voice called out from outside. Daniel, it's over. Come out and we'll let them live. He froze. That voice, Ada's eyes widened. That's your head of security, Oscar. He betrayed me, Daniel muttered. Figures. Daniel, they'll kill us, Linda whispered. They won't touch you. You're their leverage. Then what? Then I end it. He stood up, gun steady. Open the door, he said. No, Linda grabbed his arm. Please. Trust me, he said quietly. He kissed her forehead once, the kind of kiss that felt like goodbye. Then he stepped outside into the light of approaching flashlights. I'm here, he said. Let them go. The men surrounded him, guns drawn. Oscar stepped forward, smiling. Ma, you should have stayed dead. Daniel smiled faintly. You first. A shot rang out, then another. Linda screamed his name. The echo of gunfire hung in the air long after the last shot. Smoke drifted across the yard, and the night swallowed everything in silence. Linda didn't realize she was screaming until Shirley grabbed her shoulders. Stay down. He's out there. Linda, you can't. She broke free and ran into the open, ignoring the shouting behind her. Her feet slipped on the wet grass, her breath ragged. Daniel! She screamed again. A shape moved in the smoke, and then another. When it cleared, she saw two bodies on the ground. Oscar lay still, eyes open, blood soaking his shirt, and beside him Daniel. He was on his side, breathing shallowly, his hand clutching his chest. No, Linda whispered, dropping to her knees. No, no, no. His eyes fluttered open, weak but still searching for her. You came, he said faintly. Of course I came, you idiot. She pressed her hands over the wound, her tears mixing with the blood. Why do you always have to be the hero? Because you make it look easy, he whispered. Shirley and Ella rushed over. He's losing too much blood, Shirley said urgently. We have to move him. Where? There's a clinic 20 minutes from here. Help me lift him. They dragged Daniel into the van, Linda holding his head in her lap. His eyes stayed half open, fixed on her. Don't sleep, she said, her voice breaking. You close your eyes and I'll kill you myself. He smiled faintly. You'd have to catch me first. Shut up and breathe. You're bossy when you're scared. I'm always scared when you're around. His hand found hers, trembling. Then stay scared with me. She couldn't stop the tears. The drive felt endless. Every second the sound of his breathing grew thinner. When they reached the clinic, Shirley ran inside, shouting for help. 2 nurses rushed out with a stretcher. Linda refused to let go until the doctor pried her hand away. We'll do our best, he said. Wait outside. The door closed, leaving her in the hallway shaking. Ella hugged her tightly. He'll be okay, Mum. He has to be. I told him to walk away, she whispered. I told him to leave us alone. And he didn't, Ella said, because he loves you. Hours passed. The clock ticked loud enough to fill the silence. Shirley paced the hallway, making calls, whispering updates. Linda sat still, her eyes red and unfocused. At 3 a.m., the doctor stepped out, removing his gloves. He's stable, he said, but the bullet was close to his heart. He's unconscious. We'll have to keep him under observation for a few days. Linda exhaled shakily, the first breath of relief she'd taken in hours. Can I see him? Only for a few minutes. She walked into the dim room. Daniel lay there, pale and still, machines beeping softly beside him. She sat on the edge of the bed and touched his hand. You stubborn fool, she whispered. You fight the world but forget your own body. His fingers twitched slightly. She smiled through her tears. You hear me, Daniel? You don't get to die before I finish yelling at you. Behind her, Shirley entered quietly. You should rest. I can't. He'll make it. I've seen men with worse wounds walk out of here. He's not just a man, Linda said. Shirley smiled faintly. No, he's not. He's your second chance. Second chances don't come wrapped in bullets. Sometimes they do, Shirley said softly. Life's strange like that. The next morning, reporters surrounded the clinic. Word had spread that Daniel Smith was alive again, this time as the man who exposed corruption and survived an assassination attempt. Security guards kept them at bay, but the world outside was already rewriting his story. Inside, Linda sat beside him day after day. She fed Ella, called Shirley's contacts, ignored every journalist. All she cared about was the rise and fall of his chest. On the fourth day, his eyes opened his eyes. Linda, she looked up, stunned. You're awake. Told you, you couldn't kill me that easy. You're unbelievable, and you're beautiful when you worry. She laughed wetly. Stop talking before I unplug the machines. If that's what it takes to keep you here. You almost died, Daniel. You could have left us broken. And you would have rebuilt like you always do. I'm tired of rebuilding. He reached for her hand. Then let me be the one who stays this time. She hesitated, then laced her fingers with his. You don't know how. Teach me. You don't listen. I'm learning, he whispered, starting now. Over the next few days, Daniel recovered faster than anyone expected. He refused to talk to the media, telling Shirley, the story isn't about me, it's about her. Linda? Shirley asked. Yes, the woman who made the world remember what kindness looks like. Shirley smiled. She's going to hate you for saying that. Probably. That night, when the clinic was quiet, Linda sat by the window, watching the lights of the city beyond the hills. Ella was asleep, and Daniel dozed beside her. She whispered, God, I don't know what this man wants from me, but if it's peace, let him find it. If it's love, let me have the strength to give it. Behind her, his voice came softly. You already have. She turned. He was awake, smiling faintly. You're supposed to be resting. I rest better when you talk. You heard all that. Every word. You pray like you argue, fierce and stubborn. Maybe that's why God listens. He's not the only one, Daniel said. You should sleep. I will after you promise me something. What? No more running, no more secrets, no more trying to save the world alone. I promise, he said. But you have to promise me something too. What? Don't disappear when the world finally looks away, she smiled. You're stuck with me now. Good, he whispered, closing his eyes again. For the first time, peace didn't feel like a dream. It felt like the beginning of something real. But outside the clinic, Shirley stood beside her car, phone pressed to her ear. Yes, she said quietly. He's alive. Everything's gone public, but there's one thing you need to know. Someone else was pulling the strings. Oscar wasn't the top, the voice on the other end crackled. Then who? Shirley's expression darkened. His partner, someone Daniel trusted before all this started. Do you have a name? Not yet, but whoever it is, they're still watching. She looked toward the clinic window where Linda's silhouette stood beside Daniel's bed. And they're not finished. 2 weeks after the shooting, Daniel was discharged. The clinic's gate overflowed with cameras again, but this time he walked out hand in hand with Linda, calm and unafraid. You ready for this? She whispered. No, he said, but I'm ready for us. Shirley met them with the car. We need to talk, she said once they were inside. About what? Daniel asked. About who's been playing both sides. She handed him a folder. Inside were bank transfers, encrypted messages, and a name he hadn't expected, Caspian Reed, his oldest friend and business partner. Daniel blinked. Caspian? He was my brother. He financed Oscar, Ada said. Everything leads back to him. Linda looked at Daniel's face, pale under the bruises. What will you do? End it, he said. No more hiding. That evening, Daniel called a press conference at one of his Los Angeles offices, unannounced, unfiltered. Linda wanted to stop him, but he said quietly, the only thing more dangerous than the truth is silence. The lights, the microphones, the endless flashes, it all returned like a nightmare, but this time he wasn't alone. Months ago, he told the crowd, I uncovered corruption within my company. Many of those responsible are facing justice, but one name remains, the man who once called himself my brother. Gasps rippled through the room. Caspian Reed betrayed me and tried to destroy everything we built. He will answer for it, and he will not hurt another soul. Reporters shouted questions. He ignored them. Instead, he reached for Linda's hand. The real story isn't betrayal, he said into the mic. It's forgiveness, he turned to her. Because the woman standing beside me taught me that forgiveness isn't weakness. It's freedom. Outside, police cars arrived as Caspian was led out in cuffs. Cameras captured the moment. The internet erupted again. But for once, the headlines weren't about wealth. They were about redemption. Later that night, the building emptied, leaving only the sound of rain on glass. Linda stood by the window, watching the city lights smear across the wet pavement. Daniel walked up behind her, slipping an arm around her waist. "You finally did it," she said softly. "No," he replied. "We did. What now? Now we live. You think the world will let us?" "Let them watch," he said. "I'm done living for their approval." She turned to face him. "And if tomorrow the world forgets your name, then I'll still remember yours," she smiled. "You and that mouth of yours. You love this mouth. Sometimes. Lie again." She laughed, really laughed, for the first time in years. Ella peeked from the doorway, grinning. "So, are we rich now or what?" Linda threw a towel at her. "Go to bed." "That's not a no," Ella teased, ducking away. Daniel chuckled. "She's got your fire. She's got your trouble," Linda said. "That's a dangerous mix." "Maybe," he said, "but it's ours." Weeks passed. The media storm faded, replaced by new scandals, new distractions. Daniel rebuilt his company under a new name, one dedicated to charity and social reform. Linda opened a small catering business he funded quietly, but never took credit for. People came from all over the city to eat her food, the same simple dishes that once fed a starving stranger. One afternoon, she found Daniel sitting in the shop, watching her serve customers. "You know," he said, "your jollof really could make a man forget his name," she smirked. "You still remember yours, though?" "Only because you keep saying it. What are you doing here, anyway? Missing you. You saw me this morning. That was hours ago. You're impossible." "So you've said." He stood, kissed her cheek and whispered, "Don't ever stop being the reason I believe in miracles." She rolled her eyes but smiled after him. That evening they walked home together through the streets, hand in hand, laughter weaving through the sounds of vendors packing up for the day. Life felt ordinary again, but the kind of ordinary people fight wars to keep. As they reached their gate, Linda looked up at the fading sky. "You ever think about how it all started?" "A dinner invitation," he said. "One act of kindness. You almost burned down my kitchen with all the trouble that followed. And yet you still cooked for me again. Guess I never learn." "No," he said. "You just love too deeply." She nudged him playfully. "Keep talking, and I'll charge you for these meals." "Fair, but you should know I'm terrible at owing debts." "Then pay up." He leaned in and kissed her, slow and certain. The world could have ended right there, and she wouldn't have minded. When they finally pulled apart, she whispered, "That was overdue." 10 years overdue," he said. "Then don't be late again." "Never," he promised. Time drifted forward, months into years. The city forgot the chaos, but it never forgot their story. People still whispered about the single mother who invited a stranger to dinner and discovered he was a billionaire. Some called it luck, others called it destiny, but Linda and Daniel called it life. On the anniversary of that first dinner, they hosted a small gathering, friends, neighbors, even Shirley. As the guests laughed and clinked glasses, Daniel stood to give a toast. "A wise woman once told me that kindness has a face," he said. "Tonight it has many." He lifted his glass. "To the meal that changed everything." Everyone cheered. Ella rolled her eyes but smiled proudly. Linda raised her glass too. "To second chances," she said. Later, when the guests were gone, Daniel and Linda stood alone by the window, city lights glowing in the distance. "We made it," she whispered. "We did. You ever think about what might have happened if I hadn't opened that door years ago? Then I'd still be lost," he said, "and I'd still be lonely. So, what do we do with this life we've built? We live it, loudly, kindly." He pulled her close, resting his forehead against hers. "You're the home I never knew I needed. And you," she said, "are the peace I never believed I'd find." The camera of life might have panned away there, two silhouettes framed against soft light, laughter mixing with the hum of the city, because sometimes stories don't end. They just keep breathing quietly in the hearts that believe them. Some stories aren't just watched, they're felt. If this one touched your heart, don't just scroll away. Hit the like button, drop a comment about your favorite moment, and subscribe for more powerful stories that remind us why love and kindness still matter. See you in the next one.